Guys, my name is Nairi and today we're going to talk about what it's like to be in court when you're adopting your child. So your adoption court day, and I'm going to go through with you some things to think about, some things to consider. It's just based on my experiences. If you think you're going to find a channel around adoption, family support, hearing my stories, having some tips and advice on behaviour, you name it, everything about adoptions there, then please take the time to subscribe. So let's talk about what it's like to go to court with your children when you finally get to that point. What an amazing feeling it is, and you're building yourself up. And the first thing to say about it is actually it's quite nerve-wracking. I thought it was quite nerve-wracking. I think because it's a sense of occasion and you're going to court and you've waited so long, so you will feel a little bit nervous, and the way to overcome that hopefully is to hear what I have to say about what it's like to be in court, and then you're ready and you're prepared and you know what's coming up. My experience is that when you're checked in, you're kind of checked over and asked whether you've got anything dangerous on you, and you feel like you're being checked in a bit like a criminal, which is really odd when you have children with you. I found that really strange that we were going through the same process as somebody who was either a defendant or going in with a defendant. So that's the first thing to consider. You're going into court, so be ready for some checking and some questions, but you're not really allowed to take much in with you. The next thing to say is you have a bit of a waiting time. You can't guarantee that the time that you've been given to go into court is when you're going to go into court. So if you have young children, please take stuff with you. So have plenty of things for your children to do so they're not bored, because you're literally just waiting in a very dull court waiting room area. And the thing to say about that is you're waiting with defendants. So yes, you are waiting with criminals, which again, that might just be my experience, but that was my experience, that we were waiting with anybody else who needed to have a court hearing. The next thing to say is when you go in a courtroom, you're expecting a bit of drama, because that's what we see on the telly. We expect it to be something. I don't know what we expect it to be, but something dramatic. And then you go in and actually there's nothing really in there but chairs, and it's quite a muffled silence kind of room. So it's a little bit claustrophobic is probably the word I want to say. There's nothing around to see or do. It's just your chairs and then where the judge is going to come at the front. So there's a sense of occasion and silencing hushness. Make sure you've got people with you that can make you feel supported. Make sure that you plan who you're going to have with you, that they are going to be the good people to support you to go into a courtroom. Although it's exciting and you're emotional and you're happy about it, you're still going into a courtroom. Make sure you've got good people around you. But on a positive note, our judge was really lovely. And this is when things started to feel a little bit nicer and like it really was about an adoption, not going to court. So the judge came in and he was immediately very friendly and chatted to the boys quite quickly and to us and to some of the family members around, and immediately put us at ease. So at this point, I think the sense of occasion was still there, but then we all realised the judge was going to be human. We had to stand up for him to come in. People weren't supposed to be chatting away or anything like that. He told us what was going to happen, asked a few questions and started speaking to the boys about their new family. Quite quickly from there, we were invited to come up, where he said a few things to us and the boys. We had some sort of certificate which marked the day. And then the photo opportunity started. So he gave a gift of teddies to the boys, and then the photo opportunity started. So a big tip here would be make sure that you have somebody coming with you who's not necessarily a family member that would want to be in most of the photos, but is happy to take photos and is a good photographer. Because we started scrabbling around thinking, who's going to take the photos? Because we all want to be in the photographs. And we started off with all of us as a family group in there, and I have 5 birth children and there were partners there as well, so it's quite a big photo, and we included the social workers in there, and then we came down until it was just us and the boys having a photo taken, and that photo came out really well, and it's a real keepsake memory photo of a moment that was a very long time coming for us, because we'd fostered the boys for many years. So it was a very emotional time. It was hard to keep that emotion in. So I will say that. I think you would feel very emotional. and it was a lovely photo opportunity. So again, it's take the moment to get as many photos as you want. Don't feel rushed, because yes, they do have other cases, and yes, you may feel a little bit rushed, but take the moment to make sure you capture those photos in the way that you want them captured. He allowed the boys to sit on the judge's chair. He was in some of the photos as well, and yeah, it was lovely. I don't think the boys understood at all what was going on, because for them, adoption was a very movable feast, is the only way I can explain it, because they'd been for adoption before and that had broken down. It never got to court, never got official, but adoption was a very loosely thrown together word for them. So they didn't entirely understand court. I would say that probably as we started to celebrate their adoption, things started to sort of settle in a little bit more. But nevertheless, it marks the occasion, and one of my sons still has the photo in his room now, and he keeps it in kind of pride of place in his room, which shows how important it is to him. Congratulations if you're heading that way, because it means that you're getting there. I hope that you found this video useful. Sometimes I talk about adoption process, sometimes I talk about children's behaviour, sometimes I share my stories, but what I hope and I aim to do is to support you through your adoption and afterward. So if you think that could be useful, then please take the time to subscribe.